I was always proud of our life together. From the moment I met my wife, Jessica, I knew she was the one. We met through online dating about a decade ago and quickly hit it off. Jessica was an artist, vibrant and full of life. Her creativity was like a beacon, drawing people towards her with ease. After 2 years of dating, we got married and have now been together for 8 years. Our 2 children, Emily and Jack, both under 6 years old, were the light of our lives. We had worked through various challenges, mostly financial disagreements, but we always communicated well and tackled issues as a team. We were a single unit, a united front, or so I believed. Jessica's past was a kaleidoscope of experiences. She grew up in a small town, always the girl with her head in the clouds, sketching and painting her dreams. Her parents, both teachers, nurtured her artistic talents, but struggled to understand her free spirit. She moved to the city for college, seeking an environment that would appreciate her creativity. It was in college that she met her first love, Mark, a relationship that ended when they graduated and life took them in different directions. My own past was starkly different. I was the eldest of 3 brothers, raised in a military family. Discipline and structure were the cornerstones of my upbringing. My parents instilled in us a sense of duty and responsibility. I followed in my father's footsteps, joining the Army right out of high school. After several tours overseas, I decided to pursue a degree in engineering, a field that promised stability and order. Meeting Jessica was like discovering color in a world of black and white. She brought spontaneity and joy into my regimented life. Our early days of marriage were filled with adventure. We traveled extensively, exploring new cities and cultures. Jessica's artistic eye saw beauty in every corner of the world, and she captured it all in her sketches and paintings. We backpacked through Europe, camped under the stars in the Australian outback, and even volunteered in a small village in South America. Each experience brought us closer, strengthening the bond we shared. It was a typical Thursday morning when everything changed. Jessica and I had just shared an intimate moment after dropping the kids off at school. She was set to work a late shift, leaving me home alone with our children. I was plugging in the iPad to charge, and it being linked to Jessica's phone, her messages appeared on the screen. There was a notification from a number without a name, a message gushing about my wife's personality, looks, and more. It felt too heartfelt to be a mere joke between friends, so I opened it. The messages revealed an ongoing affair with a new friend from work, Rachel. They had flirted and discussed boundaries, with Jessica expressing regret that she hadn't met Rachel before me or before we had kids. My heart pounded, each beat louder than the last, and a cold sweat broke out across my forehead. The life we built, the trust we shared, all felt like an illusion. I felt a surge of betrayal that left me breathless, as if the ground beneath me had crumbled away. I took pictures of the messages and started texting Jessica, my hands shaking with a mix of anger and desperation. I needed answers, and I needed them now. She eventually admitted that Rachel had been at our house that morning, something she never did without telling me. Anger boiled within me, and I sent a message demanding very real answers. I saw her panic as she read my text on the iPad, then quickly texted Rachel, telling her it was over. Jessica then messaged me, asking to call when she found a quiet spot at work. I told her not to bother and arranged for her to sleep in the basement when she got home. That night was endless. Every shadow in our house seemed to mock me, every creak of the floorboards a reminder of the betrayal. My mind raced with a million thoughts, each one darker than the last. The next morning, I confronted Jessica, my voice trembling with a mix of hurt and rage. She had no explanation for her actions, only vague apologies and claims that nothing was wrong with me or our life. She said all they did was kiss, but the messages suggested she wanted more. Her embarrassment and regret seemed only to stem from getting caught. Jessica agreed to my conditions. She would sleep in the basement, cut contact with Rachel, and act more professionally at work. I wanted to believe we could fix this, but the betrayal cut deep. I considered going scorched earth, contacting Rachel's wife, but refrained for the kids' sake. My priority was their well-being. As we navigated the tense aftermath of Jessica's affair, I found myself reflecting on our earlier years together. Before marriage, neither of us had successful long-term relationships. Our bond was built on mutual respect and communication, or so I thought. But now the foundation seemed to be crumbling. Every memory of our past happiness was tainted by doubt. Had there been signs I missed? Moments that foreshadowed this betrayal? Jessica's demeanor had changed over time, becoming more irritable and distant. Her new job environment was highly unprofessional, filled with inappropriate jokes and behavior. Recently, she couldn't stop talking about Rachel, a coworker who shared a child in our kids' class. The way she gushed about Rachel made me uncomfortable, but I trusted Jessica until I saw those messages. My mind replayed our conversations, trying to pinpoint the moment things began to unravel. After discovering the affair, I took a couple of days off work to process everything and be there for Emily and Jack. The kids sensed the tension, especially Emily. She asked why Mommy was so angry lately, and all I could do was assure her that things would get better. But inside, I was seething with anger and pain. Every time I looked at Jessica, I saw betrayal. Jessica's life before me had been a whirlwind of artistic ventures and fleeting romances. She often spoke fondly of her college years, where she was surrounded by fellow artists and dreamers. It was during this time she met her first serious boyfriend, Mark. Their relationship was passionate but tumultuous, marked by intense highs and devastating lows. They broke up shortly before graduation, leaving Jessica heartbroken but determined to pursue her dreams. We started marriage counseling, but progress was slow. Jessica was remorseful, yet she couldn't explain why she did it. She insisted she was happy in life but felt drawn to Rachel in a way she couldn't resist. Our counselor suggested focusing on rebuilding trust and communication. It sounded good in theory, but every session felt like we were just scratching the surface of deeper issues. I felt trapped in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from, each counseling session a reminder of how far we had fallen. One night, unable to sleep, I revisited an old photo album. Pictures from our wedding, the birth of our children, and various family vacations stared back at me, mocking the present situation. Each image was a reminder of happier times, and it was painful to think about how we got to this point. I felt a mix of nostalgia and deep sorrow, as if those moments belonged to a different life. I decided to confront Jessica again, hoping for a more honest conversation. "Why Rachel? What did she offer that I didn't?" I asked bluntly. Jessica sighed, tears welling up in her eyes. It wasn't about what she offered. It was about how I felt, alive, desired. I've been struggling, feeling lost, and Rachel made me feel something I hadn't felt in a long time. Her words hurt, but at least they were honest. As we continued therapy, I tried to focus on positive changes. I joined a support group for spouses dealing with infidelity, which helped me feel less isolated. Sharing my story and hearing others gave me perspective and the strength to keep fighting for my family. Despite our efforts, the tension between Jessica and me remained palpable. Every interaction was laced with underlying resentment and unspoken accusations. I knew I had to dig deeper to understand what led to this betrayal, even if it meant unearthing painful truths. My nights were filled with restless sleep, my days with constant vigilance. I felt like a detective in my own life, piecing together clues to uncover the full extent of Jessica's deception. One evening, I decided to go through Jessica's messages again, this time more thoroughly. I discovered older messages from an ex-lover, Mark, from her college days. They were filled with nostalgia and hinted at a lingering connection. I felt a pang of jealousy and rage. Had Jessica always been capable of such betrayal? Was this affair with Rachel just the latest in a series of infidelities? The possibility gnawed at me, eroding the remnants of trust I had left. Determined to get answers, I confronted Jessica about Mark. She looked surprised but confessed that she had recently reconnected with him through social media. They had exchanged a few messages, but she insisted it was nothing serious. "I needed someone to talk to, someone who knew me before all this," she explained. Her words only deepened my mistrust. The next few weeks were a blur of emotions and revelations. Jessica admitted feeling unfulfilled and restless for years, struggling with her identity and role as a wife and mother. The pandemic had exacerbated these feelings, trapping her in a cycle of dissatisfaction and longing for something more. Rachel and Mark were just symptoms of a deeper issue. The realization hit me like a tidal wave, leaving me gasping for breath. Jessica's revelations were a bitter pill to swallow. I had always seen her as a strong, independent woman, but now she seemed fragile and lost. I wanted to help her, to rebuild our marriage, but the betrayal had shattered my trust. I found myself questioning everything about our relationship. Were there other secrets she was hiding? Other betrayals waiting to be uncovered? Emily and Jack were my anchors during this tumultuous time. Their innocence and love gave me the strength to keep pushing forward. I made sure to spend quality time with them, creating new routines and traditions to provide a sense of stability. We had movie nights, game nights, and weekend outings to the park. These moments of joy reminded me of the life we had built and gave me hope for the future. But even these moments were tinged with a sense of foreboding, as if our happiness was fragile and fleeting. One afternoon, while playing in the backyard, Emily asked, "Daddy, do you still love Mommy?" Her question caught me off guard. I knelt down, holding her small hands in mine. "I will always care about Mommy because she's your mom. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes and it changes things. But what's important is that we both love you very much." Emily seemed to ponder my words, then nodded and hugged me tightly. Her innocence and acceptance were both heartwarming and heartbreaking. The realization that Jessica had reconnected with her first lover, Mark, was a turning point. I decided to reach out to him, hoping for closure. Mark was surprisingly forthcoming. He admitted to having feelings for Jessica, but insisted they had not acted on them. "I respect your marriage, Will. Jessica and I were just reminiscing about old times. I had no intention of coming between you," he said. His words offered little comfort. I shared this conversation with Jessica, who confirmed Mark's account. She seemed relieved that I had talked to him. "I'm sorry for everything, Will. I know I've hurt you deeply, and I don't know if I can ever make it right. But I want to try," she said, her voice filled with remorse. For the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope that we might find a way through this. As we began to rebuild, I couldn't shake the feeling that there were still pieces missing. Our conversations grew more intense, our emotions raw and exposed. Every day felt like a balancing act, trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy for the kids while dealing with the aftermath of Jessica's betrayal. One evening, Jessica and I sat on the porch, watching the sunset. "I miss us, Will. I miss the way we used to be," she said softly. I reached out and took her hand. "I miss us too. But we're still here, and we can rebuild. It's not going to be easy, but I'm willing to try if you are," I replied. She nodded, tears in her eyes, and for the first time in months, I felt a sense of hope. We started spending more time together, focusing on rebuilding our connection. We went on dates, took long walks, and had deep conversations about our future. The trust was slowly being restored, but the scars of betrayal remained. We both knew it would take time and effort to heal completely. Our children became a central focus in our healing process. We wanted to create a stable, loving environment for them, despite the turmoil in our marriage. Emily and Jack were resilient, and their love and innocence were a constant source of strength for us. We made a pact to always put their well-being first, no matter what. As we moved forward, we learned to navigate the complexities of our relationship with honesty and openness. Jessica's affair with Rachel had been a wake-up call for both of us. It forced us to confront the issues we had been ignoring and to rebuild our marriage from the ground up. Our relationship with Mark evolved as well. He respected our efforts to rebuild our marriage and kept his distance. Jessica and I agreed to limit contact with him, focusing instead on our family and our future. It was a difficult decision, but it was necessary for our healing. One evening, as we sat in the living room, Jessica turned to me and said, "Will, I'm truly sorry for everything. I know it's going to take time, but I want to earn back your trust and rebuild our life together." Her sincerity moved me, and I took her hand in mine. "I believe you, Jessica. We've come a long way, and we'll get through this together," I replied. Our renewed commitment to each other was not without challenges. There were moments of doubt and setbacks, but we faced them together. We learned to communicate better, to express our needs and fears openly. The scars of betrayal were still there, but they were healing slowly. Emily and Jack continued to be our source of strength. Their laughter and love reminded us of the importance of family and gave us the motivation to keep working on our marriage. We created new traditions and memories, building a future filled with hope and love. Looking back, I realized that the betrayal, while painful, had forced us to confront our issues and grow as individuals and as a couple. It was a difficult journey, but it brought us closer and made us stronger. We were rebuilding our life together, one step at a time. As we sat together on the porch, watching the sunset, Jessica leaned against me and said, "I love you, Will. Thank you for giving us a second chance." I smiled and kissed her forehead. "I love you too, Jessica. Here's to a new beginning," I replied. In that moment, I felt a deep sense of peace and hope for our future. A year had passed since we decided to rebuild our marriage. The journey had been long and arduous, filled with moments of doubt and pain, but also with hope and healing. Jessica and I had learned to communicate better, to be more understanding and supportive of each other's needs. Our relationship had transformed, becoming more resilient and deeper than ever before. Emily and Jack had flourished in this new environment of honesty and love. Emily's drawings had become more vibrant and imaginative, reflecting the joy she felt. Jack, too, had grown more confident and happy, his laughter a constant reminder of what we were working towards. Jessica and I had created new traditions and routines that strengthened our bond. We had regular date nights, spent more quality time with the kids, and even started a small garden in the backyard, a project that brought us closer as a family. The garden became a symbol of our new beginning, a place where we could watch life grow and flourish together. Our therapy sessions had become less frequent, but remained a cornerstone of our continued growth. Jessica's individual counseling had helped her understand her feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction, while my sessions focused on rebuilding my self-esteem and trust. Together, we had built a stronger foundation for our marriage, one that could withstand the challenges of life. As we celebrated our 9th wedding anniversary, we decided to renew our vows in a small, intimate ceremony with close friends and family. It was a reaffirmation of our commitment to each other and to our family. The ceremony was simple but filled with love and hope, a testament to how far we had come. During the vow renewal, Jessica looked into my eyes and said, "Will, I promise to love and cherish you, to be open and honest, and to work together to build a life filled with love and joy. Thank you for standing by me and giving us a second chance." Her words brought tears to my eyes, and I responded, "Jessica, I promise to love you unconditionally, to support you through every challenge, and to cherish every moment we have together. Here's to a new beginning, filled with hope and love." Our friends and family cheered, and as we embraced, I felt a profound sense of peace. We had faced the storm and emerged stronger, more united. Our journey was far from over, but we were ready to face whatever came our way, together. As we danced under the stars that night, I held Jessica close, feeling her warmth and love. The pain of the past had not vanished, but it had been transformed into a source of strength and resilience. We had built a new life together, one that was stronger and more beautiful than before. In the years that followed, we continued to grow and evolve. Jessica's art studio flourished, and I advanced in my career. Emily and Jack thrived, their happiness a constant reminder of why we had fought so hard to rebuild our family. We faced new challenges and joys, always with the knowledge that we had the strength and love to overcome anything. Looking back, I realized that the journey of healing and rebuilding had been one of the most challenging, but also the most rewarding experiences of my life. It had taught me the true meaning of love, forgiveness, and resilience. And as we continued to move forward, I knew that no matter what the future held, we would face it together, as a family. Our story was one of hope and redemption, a testament to the power of love and the strength of the human spirit. It was a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always a possibility for a new beginning, a chance to rebuild and create a life filled with love and joy. And that was a future worth fighting for. Subscribe to the channel and share your impressions in the comments.